If you take a look, it'll show you some of the important things you might want to be aware of as far as how the interface works.
Chris, how you doing?
Hey, how are you?
Good. Phil, how are you? Good.
Good.
How's everyone?
Nice. This is like a Zoom call.
Howdy. My name's Tom Cotter, and I'm hosting this year's Cattle Barons Ball on October 2nd in Tampa. It's going to be one hell of a hoedown. There's a lot of events leading up to the actual Cattle Barons Ball. Look, I can't do this. I'm from New England.
Enjoy.
I borrowed the hat. I don't even know what a hoedown is. I thought that's when a prostitute tripped. And I don't know what a cow poke is. You will never catch me poking a cow unless the cow is under video surveillance, and then maybe 3 or 4 times a week. But anyway, I am hosting this year's Cattle Barons Ball. It's on October 2nd. We're going to have a blast. There are several mini events leading up to it, and we're going to have an absolute great time. We're going to raise money for a great cause, the American Cancer Society. So join me to welcome the greatest thing that's ever happened to Tampa since Tom Brady.
That thing again.
It'll be on October 2nd. We're going to have a blast. Please check us out.
What? I don't know, I'm just half listening.
Cool.
Hi, everybody, and welcome. Excellent. You're all muted. Very nice. Asim, you just picked something out of your ear. Are you okay, buddy? Excellent. All right. I'm making eye contact with you, buddy. I can see you. Welcome, everybody. This will be fun. Later on, when we do a Q&A, you'll notice a little hand icon at the bottom of your screen. If you click that, your whole screen will have a green border, and that way we'll know that you would have a question for one of the trailblazing guests or myself, and we would love to answer them for you. So that's how you get recognized. And if you have other questions.
Well, howdy, y'all. I'm Tom Cotter. You may know me as the runner-up on America's Got talent, but I was the top human finisher. I lost to a dog act. I don't want to talk about it, but I will say this. When you come in second to a dog act, you really do feel like number 2. But on October 2nd, there's a 2 for you. I'm going to be hosting the Cattle Barons Ball right there in Tampa. Come on down and check us out. There'll be several other events leading up to the big event at the Cattle Barons Ball, October 2nd, to wipe out cancer. We're going to cancel cancer, everybody. It's a big event for the American Cancer Society. You got to come down. We'll have fun. We'll talk to people. We'll have some laughs. We'll raise some money for a good cause. Who doesn't want to be part of that? Come on down. Check us out. October 2nd, Cattle Barons Ball. Yeah. This isn't me. I'm actually from the East. I'm an Easterner, not a Westerner. I borrowed the hat. I don't know much about cow tipping. I did that in college once, and I'll tell you this, it's a lot easier to tip them over if you stay in your vehicle. A little messier. Check us out, October 2nd, Cattle Barons Ball. Laughter is the best medicine. Let's get medicated.
Why not get medicated? And I'm available without a prescription. We will have fun today. We've got some great guests, and you're going to ask them questions, and they're going to answer them for you, and you're going to have a great time. Throughout the show, there's a little icon that'll be at the bottom of the screen to donate if you feel like you want to help out in our fight against cancer at any time. We welcome that, and of course, encourage it. And I'll be back. I have to head over to the saloon now. And I recommend you guys drink, because they ain't much funnier when you're hammered. So let's drink them back, everybody.
Alex, how are you?
Oh, sorry.
You said something.
Yeah, Phil Yost. Say hello, Alex. How are you?
Good.
Good to see you.
See you, Phil.
My name's Tom Cotter, and I'm hosting this year's Cattle Barons Ball.
So to clarify, one of the things that Tom said before he left is when he's doing his, he'll be doing 3 monologues tonight. And when he's doing that, below him will be a video screen that'll be playing a slideshow about the importance of donating to ACS and to Cattle Barons Ball. If you click on that window at any time, it'll take you right to the donation or the site on Cattle Baron Ball's website, and you can make a donation tonight that'll help everyone that is trying to help battle this terrible disease. So be sure to click on that and take advantage of that cool functionality. We got about 2 minutes, and we'll be ready to start the show.
Question, how do we chat to somebody specifically?
There's a little button on your far right-hand side. It's a blue and pink chat icon. You see it on the bottom right of your screen, of your interface.
Tell one,
If you
tell
click
all.
Yeah.
Tell one, tell all. I'm kidding.
If you click that icon, the blue and the pink, it'll take you to the chat room.
There you go.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to be muting everyone and getting started. All right, thank you guys for coming. It's really good to have you here tonight for the first ever Trailblazer virtual gathering. Obviously being hosted by Tampa Cattle Barons Ball. My name is Ken Park. I'm the moderator for tonight, and it's my sincere pleasure to introduce someone that I've known for a long time. He's a nationally recognized and celebrated comedian. You may have seen him on season 7, America Got Talent, where he unfortunately lost to a dog act, but we don't bring that up tonight because we want him in a good mood. And he's also appeared on The Tonight Show, The Last Comic Standing, and a variety of televised comedic programming. So with no further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce the one, the only Mr. Tom Cotter.
Howdy, everybody. Thanks for showing up. We really appreciate it. This is our inaugural Trailblazer series show. These are a bunch of shows leading up to October 2nd, which, of course, is the Cattle Barons Ball. We'll have some fun every Tuesday night. I hope you're going to tune in for all of those leading up to, and, of course, the big Cattle Barons Ball on the 2nd of October, which will be a blast. Tonight, we're going to amuse you. We're going to entertain you. We're going to educate you. And hopefully we'll have a great time in the process. As Ken mentioned, I was on America's Got Talent. That was my third reality show on NBC. I was also on Last Comic Standing, and I had a very small part on Dateline to Catch a Predator, but I don't want to talk about that. Anyway, America's Got Talent. Well, thank you, Bert, for laughing at that. That was the first test. Oh, and Mom laughed too. People think because I lost to a dog act that I hate animals. Not true. They're delicious. And my favorite animal is steak. But I do not hate animals. People think, you lose to a dog act, you must hate dogs. Not true. We actually have a lab. It's a meth lab, but we guard it with pit bulls, and they're adorable. So anyway, thanks for showing up. It's kind of a weird time right now. This is how we do shows now as comedians. We do these Zoom shows and virtual shows. It's a little weird. I had a really tough one the other night. Someone actually stood up and walked out of their living room. That was hurtful, very hurtful. But this is the new norm. It's weird right now. The whole pandemic thing has just been strange. Like our doctor told us back in March, my wife and I, he said, no touching, no hugging, no kissing. So no change at our house, pretty much. We've been social distancing for the better part of 2 decades, which is very sad. But everyone now is hunkered down. Like from March until June, I didn't leave my house. And that was the longest span of time I had ever stayed at home without an ankle monitoring device. So I don't like this whole pandemic lockdown thing. I feel like I'm in prison with no conjugal visits. It's very depressing. But we're all hanging on everything Dr. Fauci says now, of course. He's like the soothsayer, the wisdom guy. He's like Yoda, isn't he? A little bit. 6 feet apart you must stand. Mask you have to wear. The COVID is strong in this one. I like Fauci. I don't know. I wear a mask. I was told to wear a mask, so I'm wearing one right now, but I wear mine as a thong. And don't judge me, everybody. I wear it. I'm wearing it. I feel pretty safe. Well, I feel pretty. I don't feel safe. I don't like the mask thing. I don't get it. You're not allowed to touch your face, but my dog can lick his privates for hours on end. How is that fair? That doesn't seem fair to me. I wear a mask wherever I go. I went to the grocery store yesterday wearing a mask and only a mask. And let me tell you something, social distancing was not an issue that day. I had the whole place to myself. It was a lot of fun. I don't like the fact that we've had to pretend to do baseball and basketball and hockey now. We're not even really doing it because I love sports. I played minor league baseball, very minor league, little league is what it was called. My mom was the coach and she traded me. I'll never get over that. But I love sports. I play tennis on grass because I hit the ball better when I'm high. And I played football in high school, much like Bert, but I played fantasy football. I was very good. And I did some wrestling in college. I didn't want to, but my roommate was a 300-pound gay man, and he found me attractive when he drank, and he drank a lot, everybody, and I don't want to talk about it. Anyway, thank you, Bert. I'm just going to keep playing to you. You're getting all the edgy ones. So that's where we are now, and it's, for me, comics, it's a time to be in the entertainment field. I will tell you that. It's financially, I'm going to open a wet market, I think, pretty soon. Because I've had to take on a day job. I'm a plant manager. I grow marijuana. And is that too much? Okay, good. So, but economically, it's really been devastating for so many people, myself included. My bank spends 50 cents every month on a stamp to tell me I have less than that in my account, which I think is passive aggressive. I don't like that. My bank actually just helped me get back on my feet because they repossessed my car. So that was hurtful. Visa and MasterCard call me every week and compliment me. They tell me that my balance is outstanding. I'm pretty thrilled to hear about that. I don't want to brag. I'm coming into some money soon because I have a loose tooth. My problem is I give a certain percentage of my income to the Lord. Javier, he's a Mexican drug lord. And that is not a good investment, everybody. All right, I think we're sufficiently warmed up as best we can under these circumstances. So once again, I want to welcome you guys to our our inaugural Trailblazer series show. We have 2 great guests today, 2 Trailblazers, 2 Tamponians or Tampanians. I don't know what the heck you're supposed to say, but folks from the fine area of Tampa. And we'll get to our first one in just a second. But before we do that, we're going to show a video, but I want to tell you who it is. Her name is Megan Wessel. She's been with the American Cancer Society for a long time. And she's a black belt in cancer and cancer research and knowing everything there is to know about cancer. Before we meet her, though, let's watch this video.
A long time ago, people got sick, and no one knew why. We were there. They said there were no answers. We found them. They said there was no hope. We found it. We were pioneers. Since then, our world has changed. We slowed down, and our voice grew quiet, but cancer did not. People still need us, and today we choose to stand together. We are stronger because of those who came before us, and now we will forge a new path. Together, we will no longer remain quiet in the shadows. We will change. We will innovate. Together, we will save lives. We will celebrate lives. We will lead the fight for a world without cancer. Together, we are the American Cancer Society.
Wow, that was a moving video. Once again, I want to remind everybody that throughout the program, there will be a area you can link to. You can click the link and it'll tell you how you can help us out in our fight against cancer. But without further ado, everybody, please put your hands together and welcome Megan Wessel from the American Cancer Society. Hello, Megan. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Great hat. Like it.
Oh,
Some
thanks.
people got the theme and some people didn't. We won't say who those people are, but thank you very much for playing along. Now, I want to start with a serious question. That video reminded me once again that, years ago we used to play a game of 6 degrees separation of Kevin Bacon. Everybody had that 6 degrees. Well, now, unfortunately, it's a reality that everyone seems to have some kind of connection to cancer. I know I do, and I know everybody around me does, all my friends and family. And I'm wondering if you, other than working for the American Cancer Society, if you have any kind of connection to cancer that you could share with us.
Yes, unfortunately, I have a lot of connections, but a few that stand out the most for me. I lost my mother, my grandmother, and my aunt to ovarian cancer. And I am high risk for ovarian and breast cancer, as is my sister. So this is much more than just a job for me. I am well aware that everyone on this call are amazing donors and volunteers, might very well save my life someday, or even better yet, my sister's life. So I'm very grateful that everyone came to join us this evening. Thank you.
Well, bravo. And they are lifesavers, to your point. You're exactly right. Now, the pandemic obviously has been devastating to everybody, clearly. I mean, we might be doing the show live had it not occurred, but here we are in our new reality, our new norm. It's been devastating across the board. I know it has in my field. Obviously, we just talked about that. But how has the pandemic made it, how is it impacting, in particular, cancer patients?
It's had a big impact on cancer patients. Many cancer patients and cancer survivors have an increased risk of having a very serious complications from COVID. And so they have to be very careful not to get it. And as a result, sometimes they have to postpone or delay or even modify their cancer treatment. And that can be very stressful. Having cancer is a very stressful, fearful time. And so to go through it in a pandemic really adds a whole nother layer onto it. And also, cancer can be very isolating. And we're all pretty isolated right now. And so that's another added challenge to cancer patients for right now.
Yeah. So how is the American Cancer Society helping to ensure that all cancer patients have access to the care that they need and to, things that obviously that are important to them right now?
Sure. So one of the most important indicators of whether somebody will have a positive outcome if they get cancer is if they have health insurance so they can have access to care. So the American Cancer Society spends a lot of time trying to advocate for everyone to have access to health insurance so they can get that care that they need. We do that at the state level and the federal level. And that involves a wide variety of things, including trying to increase Medicaid funding for our most vulnerable protocol out there, as well as making sure that if we need to have new open enrollment periods for those with private insurance through the Affordable Care Act, that's available. The other thing that cancer patients deal with has to do with the type of treatment they have. And as I mentioned earlier, sometimes it's safer for them to stay home than to go to the clinic. And if it's available to them and if their protocol allows it, sometimes it's better for them to have oral medication instead of IV chemotherapy. And in some cases, that oral is more expensive. So we try to make sure that patients have affordable, accessible oral anti-cancer medication if that's what will work for them.
Got it. Now, my insurance is horrible. I have a horrible health insurance because of a pre-existing condition called poverty. So it's very hard for me. But I'm curious right now, because people are afraid to go to the doctor. I know I am. You're terrified to go to the hospital, to the doctor, to an emergency room because of COVID. And so I'm wondering if people, like regular everyday people, like all of us, if we should continue to get our cancer screenings as we normally would now that the lockdown is kind of loosening up a little bit. What are your thoughts on that?
So when the pandemic first really took off, the American Cancer Society and many other organizations said, hold off on your routine cancer screenings because we want everyone to be safe. And as a result, which we expected, and we know that that's okay, but as a result, for about a 3-month period, we saw 22 million routine cancer screenings that did not happen. And if those had happened, about 80,000 people would have been diagnosed with cancer. And so those cancers didn't go away. So what we have to make sure is that those people still go in and get their regular screening. And so those cancers can be detected in the most treatable stage. Now, we have to do that in a safe way. So when the time is right, we need patients to contact their providers and talk to them about what's the safest and most appropriate way to get my routine cancer screening. So if you're not up to date, any of you on the call, please contact your doctor and make sure you get up to date at the right time in the right way.
Yeah, that couldn't be more important. Obviously, the sooner you catch cancer, the easier it is to treat it. So, people who are foregoing their screenings are, I think it's unfortunately a mistake that they should get in and see someone right away for all their routine scheduled. I know I go for my prostate, my colonoscopy. Sorry to be so graphic, but I do that, pretty annually. And now I will, now that the pandemic has loosened up a little bit. One more question. If you could choose a song to play every time you entered a room, what would that song be and why?
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I love Bruce Springsteen, so it would probably be a Bruce Springsteen song, maybe Born to Run. I don't know.
Excellent. You got to love the boss. Absolutely. That is a fun. There was no wrong answer, but that was an excellent answer. When I was a kid, I had a Walkman. Remember the Walkmans were this big? They were giant. It looked like the size of a Bible. And I would listen to Born to Run before wrestling matches. Anyway, that's a little fun fact. Okay, so now I'd like to open it up to everybody. And once again, I just want to mention that if anybody is so moved at any point, and it doesn't have to be a financial contribution, it could be, a volunteer situation or something. There is a link on this at all times. Please click. We need you for the fight against cancer. So what do you say, Megan? Can we open this up to some questions from the people in the crowd?
Sure, let's give it a try.
Okay, everybody, if you want to look down at the bottom of your screen, there's a little hand icon. So if anybody has a question for either Tom or Megan, just click on that and I'll see you and I'll call on 3 people that we can hopefully get 3 great questions. So don't be shy, ask a question directly to Megan or Tom. Just click on the little hand icon.
Keep it clean, everybody. It's a family show.
Well, I'll start it off because I'm interested, as I'm listening to you talk, Megan, working inside of the cancer industry and seeing the research and sharing the message that you do on a day in and day out basis. Has it changed your own approach or your family's approach to how they kind of look at diet, fitness, or even just lifestyle in general? Have you made changes as a result of that? And do you advocate those to your close or your extended family?
Yes, absolutely. The American Cancer Society has the longest and the largest cancer prevention study. It's been going on for decades. And we have found some amazing new knowledge from this extensive study. One thing most recently we've discovered is that being physically active and standing is very important. So I have a stand-up desk and I go back and forth. So I strongly recommend if you don't already to get a stand-up desk, and then stay physically active and keep your weight down. Unfortunately, obesity is linked to many types of cancers, about 13, I think, right now. So you want to stay physically active and keep your weight down.
Great.
And if you
We
can't
have
get
a-
a stand-up desk, get a stand-up comedian. That's the second best thing.
We
Laughter
have-
is the best medicine, although codeine's also very good. But anyway, go ahead.
We have a question over here from Chris and Cindy Taylor. So Chris and Cindy, you want to ask Tom or Megan a question?
Yes, Megan, I see that you're the Vice President of Cancer Control, and I got to assume that's one of those titles that's all encompassing. It probably means you do everything. We were talking about research, but one of the themes for this year's Cattle Bear Ball was access to care. And could you talk for just a moment about how COVID has impacted the ability of people to access care who don't possibly have the support systems in their life that can get them there, or even the material things that you need, like a car?
Yeah, so, unfortunately, access to care has become even a greater challenge. It's always been a challenge in this country, but it's even become a greater challenge with COVID. A lot of people have lost their jobs and lost their health insurance. So I talked about that a little bit earlier, so that's absolutely critical. The other thing that the American Cancer Society focuses on is lodging and transportation. Right now, because of COVID, we have some limitations on those programs because we want to make sure that our patients, our caregivers, our staff, and our volunteers stay safe. But as soon as we feel that we can get those programs going again, when it's a safer environment, we certainly will. In the meantime, we're wanting to make sure that cancer patients contact us and we tell them about the resources that are available to them right now in their community.
Great. We're going to take one last question. Bert, I see you have a question. Before you ask it, I just wanted to point out and clarify when Tom said that there would be a link that would allow you to donate. If you look below Tom when he's doing any of his stand-up routines, there's 3 of them throughout the show. He already did the first one. There's one coming up. You'll see a screen with a slideshow taking place. If you click on that window at any time, you will be taken to the donation page and you can donate, and we'd appreciate that very much, as would everybody that is, fighting down this road to recovery. So we appreciate that. Bert, do you have a question for Tom?
Clear, can I interrupt 1 second? To be clear, the video is also, you want to distract from my stand-up whenever you can. So that's why they're doing it during my stand-up. But
I figure some people might fall asleep. If you fall asleep, this keeps you, focused.
Passive aggressive. That's not necessary to heckle me. Okay, go ahead, Bert. Hit us with your question, pal.
Well, my question was for Megan, and really, I was wondering what are the most important types of cancer screening to get? Just saying, to regular patients, myself included, that hey, you should go get checked for cancer. Well, what kind? When should I start? I know at least with my heart doctors that okay, I have a history of heart disease in my family, therefore I should start getting checked out like in my 30s, early 40s. Is there any sort of kind of general guidance when it comes to cancer and cancer screening?
Yes, and we have some great tools and resources on cancer.org. So I strongly recommend that you look at that. But I will say, first you need to determine what you're at high risk for, because there are different guidelines if you're at average risk or if you're at high risk. And so you want to make sure talk to your doctor about your family history and any other conditions that you might have that might put you at higher risk. But I would definitely recommend, if you're a woman, you talk to your doctor about breast cancer screening. Men and women, everyone needs to talk about colorectal cancer screening, and men need to talk to their doctors about prostate cancer screening to make an informed decision about what's best for them. So that's a good starting point, and I would strongly recommend that you talk to your doctor about it and also review our guidelines online, and I can send those to you if that would be helpful.
And prostate cancer is not as nearly as intimidating as it used to be. Now it's a blood test, right? It's a PSA test. I'm terrified. I always get screened for it. I had a pap smear yesterday. I'm very nervous, but I'm okay now. All right, everybody. How about a round of applause for Megan Wessel for answering our questions? Wasn't she great? Full of knowledge, full of information. We appreciate your time. Thank you very much. And I also want to just give a tip of the hat to our sponsors tonight, the American Cancer Society, quite obviously, and Compass Land and Title has also been very generous. And if your company or anybody you know wants to sponsor in the future, of course, we're always, we're always welcoming new sponsorship whenever we can get it. And Ken, I think now we're going to move on to another.
So we're going to do now a little spot that Tom has become famous for. It's called Comedy on Demand. Unlike many comedians, Tom is quick on his feet and can kind of riff on demand. So once again, using the little hand icon, I'd like to get one or two, maybe three, depending on how good Tom is doing with it, topics that he could then, focus his humor around. And let's see if we can stump him. Try to keep the categories a little broad, like relationships, sports, sex, dogs, dog acts, things like that. Anyway, if anyone has one, let's go up here. We have one from Brian. Brian, what is the topic that you would like Tom to do his comedy around?
Be gentle, Brian. Be gentle.
Yeah, I heard sports, but I'd like to hear how you would mess around with the Tampa Bay Bucks.
Well, the Bucks is it's a troubling thing for me because you don't know this, but I grew up in New England. The rock from under which I crawled was in Providence, Rhode Island. So I grew up a Patriots fan. I'm a Bruins, Celtics, Red Sox, Patriots fan. And you guys just stole my quarterback and the greatest tight end to ever play the game. And okay, you can clap. That's hostile. That's a little hurtful. Congratulations. And they are now my NFC team. I'm still a loyal Patriots fan. And here's the sad thing. I live in New York City for 20 years now. I'm talking to you now from New York. And so growing up as a Bruins, Red Sox, Celtics, Patriots fan, I couldn't leave that alone. I'm loyal. So I moved to New York City, where now I feel like a Palestinian living in an Israeli village. Everybody hates me down here. I go to Yankee games and I wear a Red Sox jersey. And by the second inning, it's covered in saliva because I drool a lot. But yeah, I've been loyal to my teams, but I'm also quite loyal to Tom Brady. Our dog is named Brady, and that's a fact. And we are not changing the dog's name. And Gronk is a password to get into my computer. Now you know that. So that's how devastated I was by the mass exodus of our best two players to your team. But I wish you guys the best of luck. I'm rooting for him. I hope he does well.
All right, let's get another one. Alex, you have one as well. What is your topic?
My topic is Florida. So, Tom, we both jokingly refer to ourselves, and other people think of us as Florida, D-U-H, because the wildest, craziest ass stories you ever hear, gator wrestling, we can just go on from there. So when I say Florida to you, what comes to mind?
Well, I'm not disparaging the intelligence level of the people from the Sunshine State. I will tell you that I've always called it the ancient land or the old country, because the average age in Florida is deceased, isn't it? I mean, it's pretty old. If people down here, you get stuck behind someone at a traffic light and they don't move when the light turns green, go around because they've had a medical issue. That's what I always say. Florida is my favorite state because it's shaped like part of the male anatomy tinkling on Cuba. And last time I was in Florida, I went on a whale watch. I was at a Walmart in Orlando. That was fun. Last time I was in Florida, actually, I went parasailing. I don't know if you've ever been parasailing, but that's where the speedboat takes off and it hoists you by your parachute into the sky. And within seconds, you're soaring above the boat. I felt like a seagull, so I pooped on the boat. That was a lot of fun, and I was not welcome back. But what else did I do in Florida? I was riding a horse in Florida one day, and the horse's leg was broken, so I had to shoot it. And everybody on the carousel freaked out. I don't know what their problem was, but they threw me out of Disney World, and I am no longer welcome there either. All right, that's Florida. Anything else?
Okay, we have another topic. One more topic, and then we'll move on to the next guest. Everyone's clapping for you. Once again, it's been brought up in the chat room that it's tough because Tom doesn't hear your applause and your laughter, and that is true, but he also doesn't hear the pizza man that's coming to the door. So it's a give and take, and we're trying to find that happy medium.
That's fine.
I'm here all week, by the way. All right, so Chris and Cindy, you seem to have a topic. Let me click again, and I'll click another time. Oh, there, maybe there. You guys can unmute yourself. There you go. Go ahead.
I was going to give you what I thought would be an easy one for Cattle Barons Ball: pickup trucks.
Pickup trucks. I don't, again, I'm from New England. We're not country people. We don't have pickup trucks with gun racks. My vehicle, unfortunately, they say your car is a reflection of you, which is unfortunate because my car has balding tires, a tiny dipstick, and an unpleasant exhaust problem. I really don't want to talk about that either. We don't have a lot of trucks where I'm from, and I live in New York City now, and we don't have a lot of trucks here either. So that was a goose egg, but let's continue chatting with you because you are a coach, right? You were a coach of Bert. Did you coach him in football? Is that what I understood? You muted yourself again. Did I hear that you were
trying to control it myself? That's kind of what I was doing with Bert too, is I was always trying to control him, and that was a difficult thing to do.
Was he good? Let's be honest. Was he good? Was he a good athlete?
Actually, he was an exceptional athlete with being so big and powerful, but he was very athletic and coordinated, almost ballet-like.
I wish I had those skills. I played lacrosse in high school, and I had to quit because of a groin injury. I kicked my coach in the groin because I said, "You're not going to play me. You're not going to have children." That's how that works. That's how I roll. You know what I mean? I'm not an athlete. I do a lot of running because of my day job. I'm a purse snatcher. And people always say, "You run like a girl." Well, duh. I'm carrying a purse, you idiot. You know what I mean? I don't do anything athletic anymore. I was on one of those stair machines today. Some people call them escalators, whatever. But I did not feel the burn at all. I try to work out. I go to a gym. I used to go to a gym. Unfortunately, now my gym's been closed for 5 months. And my gym was owned by religious fanatics. It was called Jehovah's Fitness. And there was this creepy guy there that always wanted me to spot for him at the urinal. And I am not doing that again. I'll tell you that, Coach. I got a personal trainer with my membership. My personal trainer was one of these steroid mutants, giant shoulders, huge arms, no neck. Her name was Nancy. And I called her Mancy. And Nancy said that I should wear loose-fitting clothing to our sessions. And I said, "Nancy, if I had any loose-fitting clothing, I wouldn't be in your session. How about that for a news flash?" And then she said, "Have you ever worked out with dumbbells?" And I said, "Nope, you're going to be the first." And she beat the hell out of me, Coach. It was unbelievable. All right, enough about that. Should we move on to more cancer stuff? Yeah, let's do that. All right, so I think it's time to meet our second trailblazer, everybody. Are you excited about that? I am. Our second trailblazer, many of you will recognize. This gentleman is a very successful business owner. He's got a lot of stuff that he's going to talk to us about. But before we bring him out here again, we'd like to share a video. So strap in for the video of Phil Yost, everybody.
No matter what your business is, you should live your life like you're an artist. He has a beautiful spirit and he touches a lot of people.
And a lot of people don't know this, and St. Pete is like a mecca for artists. And just not only theater, but in music and painting and all of that.
Once I saw a couple of his pieces, I was just blown away.
My actors who are in St. Pete and across the bay, the diversity, the culture that it has, it's just, to me, it's not, I haven't really experienced that in many other cities. So even when I write some of my plays, when I write some of my work, I can relate to certain aspects of the town, of the city. I can relate to certain restaurants that people know about, or certain people, i.e. Phil, or at Compass, that people can connect to, or the mayor or whoever.
He runs a Tampa Bay Theater Festival, like all on his own, and that's brought a lot of attention to the theater scene here. So I have to back my man.
It's just all about community. We just come together for the art. We come together for the purpose of doing things for each other and coming together. I think it's a freedom and a platform that gives us the ability to do and say things that other communities don't have.
It touches every level of humanity. It goes across races. I mean, Rory's the man. And the fact that he's from Tampa, we're lucky to have him.
Ladies and gentlemen, hands together, Phil Yost. How are you, Phil? Now, Phil is obviously a great philanthropist. He put the Phil in philanthropy, and you're very supportive, obviously, of the American Cancer Society. I did some research, other charities, and obviously now the arts. We know I've seen 3 of those videos now, and you're supporting playwrights, you're supporting vocalists, musicians, etc. No stand-up comics, which I'm a little hurt by, but still,
I have some sponsorship money for you.
Well, thank you so much for being here today, and
Yeah,
it's wonderful.
thank you.
You do such great work for everybody in the community, and so nice. Where does that come from? Your desire to give back so much? Obviously, you're very successful. A lot of guys would go home and sleep on a mountain of cash and just be happy, but you're so generous, and you're out there all the time supporting everybody. Where does that come from?
I feel like if you're lucky enough to be successful in business, then you owe it to the communities that you do business in to do good deeds. I think it comes very natural. It's one of those things where you pick the things that are true to your heart. For me, I did connect with the arts. I probably wanted to be an artist at some point, so I don't have that talent. I've been blessed with having a good business, so I've gotten involved with the things in my community. Rory, for example, is someone that I support wholeheartedly. His theater program is just amazing. In Tampa, it's just unreal that we have that. Can't wait to come back to that. The fact that we've been on hold has been a real shame. And then here in St. Pete, the Arts Conservatory for Teens, we have the talented Alex Harris, who's working with teenagers, a musician, giving back to our community. So, those are things that the least I feel that I can do as a business person.
Yeah, and people should Google Alex. Alex's voice is spectacular. It's breathtaking how great he is. So a lot of companies haven't done so well during the pandemic. Amazon has done quite well, obviously, but many other companies haven't. And I'm wondering, if this has been a little downturn for you, how are you still able to be out there, supporting all these causes and all these artists when, unfortunately, it's not a very prosperous time for everybody? How are you making that work?
Well, I think a lot of businesses, their traditional marketing or things that they were doing are gone now. So at the very beginning of this, when I realized that we wouldn't be out doing the things we had done in the past, we're not going to be doing educational seminars, rather than sit dormant and not spend the money, I chose to get involved in charities. The money I would have spent doing other business endeavors that are on hold at the moment, I just redirected to charities within my community and things that I thought would make a difference for my neighbors.
Well, bravo. Someone's going to heaven. I'm curious. So I asked this of Megan Wessel as well, and I'm curious. Everybody seems to have some kind of unfortunate or connection to cancer, and I'm wondering if you have any kind of, connection to.
I do, and that's why this charity is so important to me as well. My stepson probably passed over a decade ago now, and he had osteosarcoma, which was a pretty rare form of cancer. And in the process of spending time with him on that, I realized how research would affect it, and there wasn't a lot of research dollars at that time in that particular cancer. So again, I think everyone universally has been affected. So this is just a great charity to get behind. I think with COVID and all the isolation, this is a great thing to jump behind right now and make a donation.
Excellent. Good point. Now, I was just told that Rory is actually tuned in here. Is Rory here with us today?
Yes. Can you hear me?
There you are. How are you, man? It's an honor and a privilege to make your acquaintance.
Hey, thank you. Hey, even though Phil hasn't put you up yet, you can open up at one of my shows with your comedy.
Awesome.
Yeah, there we go.
It's all about networking, everybody. We're working it out.
That's what it's about.
Well, you do wonderful work, and you're obviously quite talented, and it's an honor to share the screen with you, sir.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you. And big shout out to you, Phil, man, for what you're doing in the community and even across the Bay. Phil and I met, almost 20 years ago at the gym when you had long blonde hair.
Tom, this is where the comedy comes in. I knew Rory was going to go there.
I didn't even know, man, you was into arts like that until we met. We reconnected a few years ago, and he came to my shows, and I began to see the philanthropy part of Phil, and it's just a beautiful thing what you're doing, and man, you know, it's the law of reciprocity. What you do, man, the more you're doing, it's gonna come back to you, and I appreciate you. So
that's why I love you,
agree.
Rory.
Karma.
Yes.
Karma's great. So you had long blonde hair, and now you have splitting hair because it looks like it split about a decade ago. Is that what happened?
That's true.
These are jokes.
Hey, like you said, it's court ordered.
And I don't want to frighten you, sir, but there's a giant fish eating the back of your head right now. Did you know that?
Yeah, I saw
You're
that
very
back there.
careful. I have one more question for you. Out of the 50 states, if you could eliminate one state, which state would it be and why?
I won't go there. Not right now. These are troubled times. We don't need that.
Sir, well played. It's like
Yes,
a
yes,
fifth.
sir.
Well, maybe we
now
can.
let's open it up for questions. I'm sure other people may want to have some questions to answered by Phil Yost.
Yeah,
Phil,
anybody that has a question, even if you have a question for Rory or Tom or Phil, if you could just hit the little hand icon, and once again, you will illuminate green, and I will be able to see you on the screen. Don't be shy. These are guys that can take just about any question you can handle. So I'll ask the first question while we wait. Phil, I know that you're involved not only in the Cattle Barons Ball, but you've also been involved in some of the other events through ACS and what they're doing. What are some of the standout moments you've had at the events you've been to? I know you're a big believer in experiential marketing, but what are some of the real standout events or moments that you've experienced along the way?
I'll tell you the most amazing thing that's happened recently is at the beginning of this, we did a St. Pete Free Clinic food drive here in downtown St. Pete. We did it during Flag Day, wanted to do something patriotic, wanted to feed folks. I know a lot of people were in trouble, especially hospitality industry. So we raised 11,000 pounds of food and got like $15,000 in donations, fed 1,000 families, and then people just drove up and dropped food. But the most amazing thing is we had a woman come up to do a donation, and she herself was homeless or had just gotten off the streets, and she felt compelled to come and donate food. So talk about a moving moment. Like, you literally have someone that just themselves got off the street and felt compelled that they had to come and donate to take care of their neighbors. I was just blown away by the generosity that I saw with her in particular. That really illustrated what I think makes the Bay Area so beautiful, is that people step up and rally, take care of their neighbors.
I love that faith in humanity. That's great.
We actually have a question from Megan Wessel. Megan, you have a question for one of the gentlemen?
Yeah, well, thank you, Phil, for all the great work you do and your support of the American Cancer Society. But Tom, this question's for you. Not only are you a funny guy, but I would love to learn a little bit more about your connection to cancer.
Well, we have it. Unfortunately, we have it on the top of our family, the bottom of our family, and right in the middle. I'm the youngest of 6 kids. I was always getting smacked around by the 2 oldest, mom and dad. Hello, it's a joke. So, but my dad in his 70s, my dad is now 96, knock on wood, but in his 70s, he was diagnosed with colon cancer. And so the fact that he's still alive at 96 is unbelievable. And in the middle, my middle sister had, I mentioned to somebody else that she had ovarian cancer. It was actually uterine cancer. I'm not well versed on women's plumbing, but she had that. And then my youngest nephew had leukemia. He had 2 years old. So we had it at the oldest member of our family, the youngest of our family of our member, and the exact middle child all around us. And now on my wife's side of the family, we have prostate cancer. So that's why I'm very attuned into getting screened for that as well. So it's all around us. And so far, knock wood, they're all cures. After 5 years, as you know, they call that a cure. And everybody so far is happy and healthy. But 3 big red alert, scares in our family. And so that really was a call to action for our family to get more in tuned. And I do a billion of these benefits. I work for Susan Komen, and I do things for Cancer Schmancer, which is Fran Dresser's thing. I've done a bunch of her things. So it's obviously a labor of love in my mind because, again, it's so pervasive. And as the saying goes, cancer hasn't quit, so neither can we. And that's why we're here.
Perfect. We have 2 other questions. Let me start with Bert McBride. Bert, you want to go ahead and give Tom your question? If I can get you to, oh, there you go.
Yeah. Tom, I just wanted to turn your question around on you. You know, if out of all the 50 states, if you had the option to send one off into the night, which one would it be, and why would it be Alabama?
First of all, I should take Phil's not, Phil was very smart, very diplomatic. But I have nothing against Alabama. I love those fine people. I will say, now that you guys have stolen my quarterback and my tight end, that I have a little animosity towards Florida. But I think California, if California happened to have an earthquake and fell into the Pacific, I wouldn't be devastated. There you have it.
I'm going to move right along. So we have a question from Celia. Celia, what's your question for Tom or Phil? Nope. If I can get you down mute. There you go.
Phil. I want to pick your brain and see what advice would you give to other philanthropists and to people that think the word philanthropist is such a big word and, I don't have enough funds to go and give money here and there. And how can you break that barrier?
I think that's a really good question. I think a lot of folks feel that it's just big corporations that need to be stepping up to the plate and doing this. And I think as a small business owner, there were times where I was uncertain as how I would pay the bills of the company, but I always felt an obligation to give charitably to my community. And I feel like I've benefited by doing these. So I feel that folks need to step up. If you're a community leader, or you're a small business owner, or in a big corporation, we all have the ability to donate and take care of people. So yes, the word sounds way more intimidating than it is, but every one of us, my story of the woman that was homeless a week before, that finally found shelter and came up and donated food at the food drive says it all, right? I mean, here's someone that was just on the streets and she came up with products to give because she was the beneficiary of that same charity just weeks before. So I feel like everyone has the ability to step up and do a little more, and it comes back. It really, truly comes back to you. That's not why you're doing it, but it certainly does.
I wanted to make one comment. Being lucky enough to consider Phil a very dear friend, I will also say that it's not just about the amount of money that you direct towards these ventures and to different charities. Phil approaches the community with a philanthropic mindset. He's always there to lend a helping hand and to lend even a word of encouragement when it's most needed. So I think some of it has to do with approaching life with a philanthropic kind of mindset. And if we do that, it spreads. And so as the promoter of this event, I would ask each of you to help in using that same kind of approach to not only get people to donate, which we desperately need, but we're going to have another one of these events next Tuesday, and it would be fantastic if you could take the experience you've had here, share the incredible generosity of Tom Cotter for being our host on this many events. That's not typical of someone that's in the charity world. I will also say that SignalWire, the provider of our technology, we met them less than 2 weeks ago, and they have literally jumped through hoops so that we could put on this event because they believed in the message and they believed in the end goals that we're all going after. So I from my heart, thank everybody at SignalWire for being such incredible partners on such short notice. And clearly it's going to be a long relationship ahead of us. So with that, I'll give it back to Tom for the closing monologue. But Tom, have at it.
I shall. One more time for Phil Yost, everybody. And keep that going, please.
Hey, thank you.
Sure. Thanks for being here. We appreciate it, and we appreciate all you do. It's important to give back. I know that, I do a lot of good deeds. Most of them are court-ordered, but I do them. And my brother gives half of his income to charity. That's his ex-wife's name, Charity. So please give back whenever you can, everybody. This has been a lot of fun. I hope everybody had a good time. I'm sure I did. We have a couple more of these leading up to October 2nd, the fall, which is my favorite season. I love the fall. I went apple picking last fall. That's what I called it. The judge called it shoplifting from the Apple store, whatever. I got an iPad, an iPhone, but there are all these eyewitnesses. So that didn't work out so well. So I had to buy a new iPhone because I had the iPhone 2, which, as you know, is made of wood. And so I needed to upgrade. I got the iPhone 8, and I'm not qualified to handle this level of technology because every time I go to answer it, I take a picture of my ear because I'm a moron. I got it home from the Apple store, and everyone said the first thing you should do is sync it with your laptop. So I threw them both in the pool, and that negates the warranty. I don't know if you're aware of that, but I'm really bad. And these guys will tell you during the rehearsal, my computer was the only one that kept glitching out because they're all on the information superhighway and I'm on the bike path with a flat tire on my bike. It's horrible. I'm really bad. I got texting. I can't text. Everybody text message. That's how everybody communicates now, is by text message. And now they have this thing called talk to text where you dictate your text message into the phone and then it sends it out. And my thought is, if you're going to talk into the phone, make the call, you lazy load. What are you doing? And I'm really not good. I see these people. I do this. This is my texting. I'm this moron. So it takes me an hour to compose a text. I was in Manhattan the other day. I saw this kid, maybe 10, 11 years old, walking down the street with the iPhone X or whatever, the $1,000 iPhone. And he's not even looking. 2 fingers, rapid fire, composing a text, not even looking at the phone. So I tripped him. Screw him. He doesn't deserve that phone. But I was jealous. I was jealous because he has a cool phone and I don't, and he can text and I can't. And even if I do text, autocorrect kicks in. You ever have autocorrect kick in and ruin your text? It was my birthday last month and my sister texted, "Happy birthday, do you feel old?" And I texted back, "I'm going gray." But autocorrect decided that we didn't need the R, so it said, "I'm going gay." And then my sister texted back, "We always knew." What the hell is that, autocorrect? I'm really not good with technology. I go on WebMD a lot. I recommend it. If you've never been on WebMD, it's awesome. You type in your symptoms and it tells you what you have. And little good news, everybody, I'm pregnant. Yes, I am. Mazel tov to me. I was on WebMD last week and I typed in swollen prostate. It's none of your business. But I typed it in and I accidentally made it my Facebook status. And that was awkward and led to a lot of defriending. Anyway, I hope you guys had a blast tonight. I hope it was fun. I hope we gave you a little bit of amusement, but I hope we also educated you a little bit with our 2 fabulous guests here on the Trailblazer series. I'm sure they have much more knowledge about what they're doing for the American Cancer Society, and it's great to hear their voices. Someone mentioned pick their brain. That's always been uncomfortable. That sounds like a Jeffrey Dahmer thing, but we have learned a lot from them. And did I just see, who is this young lady right here? Your baby just punched you in the face. Are you okay with that, Allison?
We're going to need to work on some parenting skills between now and the next Trailblazer series.
That was a great right cross he just tagged you with, and you handled it very well, like a champ. Is that a little, who is this that we're meeting on the screen, my youngest viewer?
This is Bill.
Hey, Bill.
Bert, my son, and he is a 1.5 years old. Can you say hi?
Bravo. What do you say, Bill? Now, Allison, is that your only child that you know of?
I mean, it is the only child that I know of. If there's other ones, I've got some severe explaining to do.
Excellent. I'll let you and Bert work that out in counseling. By the way, your mother-in-law is also on this, so you're going to have a chat with her too. I'm glad you're breeders. I'm glad you have some spawn. That's wonderful. Bill is he's probably taller than me, which is infuriating, but I'll get over it because I make cookies on a hollow tree. All right, so one more time, I want to thank our sponsors tonight. We had Compass Land and Title. How about a round of applause for them? And of course, the American Cancer Society, and Megan Wessel, our first Trailblazer, Phil Yost, our second, and most importantly, all of you for showing up and being supportive. Again, cancer hasn't quit, so neither can we. If you can help in any way, shape, or form, be it financially, be it volunteer work, or just getting the word out, we welcome anything you can do for us. We're trying to fight this beast of cancer, which is out there and so pervasive, and we really need everyone's help. It's like all hands on deck. Thank you so much. I'm Tom Cotter, and we'll see you next time.
Cheers.
Thanks, everybody. Great job tonight, Ken.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for joining.
I'm going to finally go home. Thanks a lot, Tom. You did a great job, too.
Thank you.
Nicely done, Tom.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good day. Drive back home.
Yeah, I'm not stopping again.
Yes, one minute. Yeah. It's on right here. Let's put it on.
When am I stopping this recording?
That's it. You're all done. Yeah. Oh, why not?
Thomas, great job. Much love, baby.
Yeah, Tom, that was